Do you ever start speaking English and just run out of things to say? And it's not because you don't know the words, you just don't have any more ideas. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you a simple 30-second challenge that you can practice every day that will help you to expand your ideas and to just keep on speaking more naturally. Here's the challenge. You have to choose a random topic, talk about it for 30 seconds, and try to make 5 sentences. Now, you might think, that doesn't sound too difficult. That's probably easy. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. But I think you should try it. It might be harder than you think. I'll show you an example. Let's take the topic of oceans. So 5 sentences in 30 seconds. The oceans are big. The oceans are deep. The oceans are blue. The oceans are beautiful. The oceans are full of life. Wow, okay. Well, that didn't take 30 seconds. Was it any good? Nope. It was pretty boring. It was pretty basic. So that's how it can be very easy to make 5 sentences in 30 seconds. But that's not what we want to do. That's not great communication. It doesn't expand on my ideas. It doesn't stretch my language skills. So to do this effectively, you have to challenge yourself a little bit more. Okay, so let's try it again. I'm going to start the same way. I'll give you the same example. So the oceans are huge. There are 5 oceans in the world, which include the Pacific and the Atlantic. If you want to see the ocean at its most beautiful, why not visit Miyako Island in Okinawa? The oceans are far bigger than you can imagine. And I think the oceans are incredible, but if I'm honest, I actually prefer the mountains. Okay, I did that in 30 seconds, I think. And I also think it was more interesting, right? It was more detailed and it was more complex. So let's think about how it became more challenging. What am I actually doing to produce this kind of speaking? Well, let's break down those 5 sentences. The first one was a simple statement. It's a really easy way to get you started. So I'm using a basic sentence, which was, the oceans are huge. The second one, I used a relative clause. In other words, if you add a which or a who, a that or a where, and provide more information, you will immediately make a more complex sentence. Number 3 was if. So I used a condition, use a conditional statement. And again, we're increasing complexity and we're adding interest. Number 4 is a comparison. I compared. So the oceans are far, what did I want to say? I was going to say far huger. That doesn't sound right. Far bigger than you can imagine or you can possibly imagine. And then I finished on number 5 with my opinion. This is a great way to finish. So you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be completely fluent. You can be like me and think about what you're saying. This is not a rehearsal. This is not memorizing a script. This is thinking about function. We're thinking about the grammar that we want to use to express ourselves. And you can choose these 5 if you like. I didn't choose them at random. I think these work together well. But if you think, well, it's easy for me to make a comparison, let's take that out and I'll replace it with another grammar point that I'm working on, that's fine. Yeah, mix it up and think about the kind of grammar that you want to use or the idea that you want to use. We can think that comparing is an idea, but also like giving reasons are ideas, just like opinions at the end, or you want to be more descriptive by using adjectives about the beauty of the ocean, the stunning scenery that you can see. So by keeping it to 5 points really helps us focus on using variation in language and stretching your skills. Now, of course, if you want to add 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sentences, go ahead. If you want to focus on building speed as well as your actual content, but speed will come later and we have other exercises that you can do to develop speed. So for the moment, focus on taking 5 core ideas that you want to work on, and you will immediately produce much more interesting English. Okay, you're probably now thinking, yeah, but Alex, you're making a video, and so you chose the topic of oceans and you thought about it and you made some sentences. Okay, did I think about it? I thought about it a little bit. You can see I wasn't like really smooth. I had to think about it a bit, right? But I did think I'll talk about oceans. Okay, so I'm going to choose a random topic and see how it works. Okay, so I've found this website, Capitalize My Title. It's got a random topic generator. You can click through and it's going to ask us some questions. I have no idea. You can check this out yourself. I have no idea what's going to come up. Okay, so what will I do? Let me click 5 times and see what question I get. It could be terrible. Let's see, and I'll see if I can come up with 5 sentences about it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is a controversial opinion you have? Okay, what's a controversial opinion I have? All right, so let me try and do 5 sentences in 30 seconds. Okay. All right, so in my opinion, baseball is the most boring sport in the world. Now, if you asked me to go to a baseball game with free tickets, free food, and a bag of money, I wouldn't do it. Okay. I think that football is far more interesting sport. It's much more beautiful and entertaining to watch. And baseball, which is incredibly popular in Japan, has taken off even more because of Shohei Ohtani. Now, I believe that Shohei Ohtani is incredibly talented and an inspiration to many people. As a man, I think he's fantastic. As a baseball player, I have no interest in him whatsoever. Okay, how was that? Now, I mixed up the flow, didn't I? Because I forgot to put which sentence second, right? I think I did it 4th, didn't I? So I added my relative clause later, but that's fine. Yeah. So this is the challenge. Why don't you take a look at this site, pick a question, hopefully randomly, and try it out. Now, you might find it really difficult and you might fail initially. That's okay. You could practice that same question again and again and again and build your speed, build your fluency, build your patterns. You don't have to be successful on the first attempt. Okay. What you could do as an alternative is actually plan the topic. Like I could take oceans and think about what I'm going to say. But planning it is never going to get you to true fluency. You need to be able to create in the moment. So accept the fact that it's going to be bumpy, it's going to be rough, you're not going to be perfect. That's okay. That's speaking, that's communication, that is English. All right. So give it a go. Now, as I said, you could make this more difficult. You can go to 1 minute. Everybody talks about doing 1 minute speaking. That's fine. 30 seconds, I think, is enough to communicate an idea and to really push yourself to be speedy. If you do go for a minute in my lessons, I always insist on at least 6 sentences because you get 10 seconds for each sentence. That's actually a very long time. Native speakers on average will produce 15 to 20, 25 sentences depending on complexity. And complexity is a key point. You don't want to have every sentence being very complex. You should balance quick, simple sentences with longer, more complex ones to create interest in your English. All right, so you heard my challenge to you. Go ahead, give it a go, and, why not write out your idea and stick it in the comments. I'd love to see it. I can give you some advice. We can sharpen up your English. You can develop your fluency. But you need to make an effort to do this. I'm not saying it's easy. but I am saying it's achievable. You just need to take 30 seconds to talk about it. You need to take a couple of minutes to set it up, find a topic and to do it, hopefully record it, review it. But how much time is this going to take for you to do every day? And if you did it every day, how much better could your English become in a very, very, very short time? I think you might be surprised.